got these stories and things that they're telling themselves that
Right.
I'm not capable of earning, I'm not worthy of earning. And I say this as somebody
Right.
who's battled those very same stories. Do you hear that a lot?
We all have. We all
Yeah.
have. But we
Welcome back to the very first episode of the season 6 of the Rocking Midlife podcast. And I'm so excited because our very first guest today is the wonderful Jeanette Lowry calling in from the States. So welcome, Jeanette.
Thank you, Kat. Nice to be here. First one, huh?
You are. I'm so excited. I've been reading Jeanette's biography and just getting to know her a little bit. And I know this lady is just going to absolutely rock your socks off. So before we dive in, I'm just going to share a little bit about Jeanette, and then we're just going to let her loose and tell us all about herself. Okay, Jeanette Lowry is a residual income and a transformation coach. She is, in my mind, this little bit is the more important bit. She is a devoted mother of 2 grown children and a proud grandmother to 2 beautiful granddaughters. And she has over 34 years of experience in her field. She has built her career empowering women to break free from the traditional 9-to-5 grind and to transition into fulfilling home-based virtual businesses. Now, she's only 64 years young, and yet she came out of retirement to keep doing this work and to encourage other women. Now, if you've read my book, Your Midlife Side Hustle, or heard me on the podcast before, you'll know that side hustles are a real passion of mine because I can see how they can free up some of that worry that we have about financial security as we age. And Jeanette is our lady. So before we get into talking about side hustles and money and all of those things, Jeanette, tell us about yourself. Tell us a bit about your story and how you ended up working with women in this area.
Sure. Well, I love your accent, Kat.
Thank you.
I love speaking to those of you with accents. People say I have an accent.
You do.
I'm from Oregon, living in
Good.
Vancouver, Washington. I don't have an accent. Suffice it to say, I am one of 6 kids and grew up in a family of back-to-back kids, honestly. We're about a year apart. So my parents got married real young, and I had an older brother that was born mentally challenged. So that put me in a place of, with the next 5 that came, or 4 that came along, was kind of becoming a little mom. So I just tell people I grew up really fast, and one of the ways that I escaped all the chaos at home was gymnastics. So in grade school, a PE teacher, invited us to tumble after school. And one thing led to another. There was a National Academy of Artistic Gymnastics that opened as an Olympic training center in Eugene, Oregon, of which I spent the next 10 years at, and went and competed through high school and then college gymnastics. So I've had a lifetime learning of good health, nutrition, staying healthy, staying fit. I taught fitness then for the next 18, 19 years, and 2 kids. I was in a 16-year marriage and was presented with becoming a single mom, not by choice.
Oh, gosh. Yes.
So what I had done, and why I'm in this business today and why I'm so passionate about helping especially midlife women, is because I was introduced in 1990 to a skincare line from a girlfriend. And I was always open to learning new things. That just holistically, that's what you do. You're always exploring what's new and what science and nature have brought us. So I tried this skincare line and I was blown away. And so for the next 7 years, honestly, I was able to build a network of longtime customers that for the next 20 years paid me.
Wow.
When I retired from business and raised my 2 kids as a single mom. So it was a huge blessing. And I learned a lot during, that experience of building a network. But what I did learn very quickly is I would never work for anybody else. I would never do the 9-to-5 thing. And I know that there's other women out there with that same, message in their head and their heart saying, there's something more for me to be doing.
Yes.
And so I kept getting phone calls from my girlfriend, and she kept saying, get your butt out of retirement. You
Love
have
it.
too much to offer. She said, I mean, how many more charities can you know, do? How many more art tables can you man? And she was right. So I came out in 2018 and hired a bunch of coaches to learn the new environment for business, because in my 50s, 60s, I didn't understand social media, none of that stuff.
Yeah.
So that's really what I did for several years, and launched my business a couple years back, and am working with women through a lot of things. Pivot is the name of my program, but it starts with, going way, way back into childhood and releasing some of those things that are keeping us stuck. And that's how I start with women, is paradigm shifts and mindset. And then we go into business and wealth creation. But it really starts with getting a handle on what's holding us back.
Well, that was going to be my first question. What do you think is holding women back, particularly those women who have been in quite stable jobs to this point, but they know they want to do more? They know that the potential of a side hustle is to not only make extra money, but it can be something that's really fulfilling, but they don't know how to get from there to there. How do you get people to make that jump?
Well, it's called a pivot. I call it pivot. That's the program. In gymnastics, we pivoted on the beam. We make turns. And that's really what it is. We don't know what we don't know, is how I always start when I talk to people. Because there's plenty. I don't know that I don't know. But when you know that you don't know, that can be like a mind tweak that you can, there might be something out there that I'm not aware of. So starting with that, but I always find for women especially, what holds them back is their insecurity around their health or their weight, and the insecurity around money.
Yes.
Maybe they are the secondary provider. Maybe they're the primary, and they were left with a big D, like I was, with a divorce or a death of a spouse that maybe left a mess financially or other things. So, we start kind of with that premise, finding out where they come from the standpoint of money, and what their childhood was like in relationship to money, because that's really where it starts.
That was actually going to be my next question. Do you dig deep, see if they've got these stories and things that they're telling themselves that I'm not capable of earning, I'm not worthy of earning? And I say this as somebody who's battled those very same stories. Do you hear that a lot?
We all have. We all have. But we have to know how to pattern interrupt. There has to be pattern interruption in order to create that new future. And it's about repetition. It's about recognizing the pattern first, creating a new pattern, and then 30 days to make a habit, 90 days to make it a long-term changeable item in your life.
Yes.
So it doesn't happen overnight. There's many things that you can do for pattern interrupts. I always tell people you've got to incorporate as much of your senses as possible, visual, auditory, sense of smell, feel. When you start recognizing these, I call it the little bitchy girl, the little bitchy young lady or young girl that sits on the shoulder.
Yes.
And
we've all got one of those.
Yes. She's trying to keep us safe, but she's really interrupting the future I want. And so she keeps us trapped in this old stories that we tell ourselves, like, well, nobody in my family has ever made $1 million. So there's no way I will ever make $1 million. Or everybody was blue collar or teachers or social workers. So me being an entrepreneur, the only other entrepreneur in my family was my dad. And that was my mentor, with recurring income. So you got to tackle the voice.
Yes. I know. I love the concept of pattern interrupts. One of my first midlife reinventions, because you know what it's like. It's an evolution. You don't just do one and that's it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I became a personal trainer. So I used to do the old pattern interrupt when I had clients who had the really negative voice going, I'll never be fit. I'll never be strong. So we used to use the old rubber band trick, you snap a rubber band on the wrist every time you thought that. And then you had to replace it consciously with something different.
Yes.
So what do you use? What's a fun little pattern interrupt?
Well, rubber band for sure. That's one of them. Stomping the floor, few stomps, boom, boom. I used to say, cancel.
Oh,
Just out loud or under my breath, cancel.
Yes.
Just to pattern interrupt. But it depends on how you perceive. You might be visual, you might be auditory, you might be sensory. So do whatever interruption tactic works best for you. And, we find that out too. We all have different ones.
yes.
Maybe snapping your hand on your leg twice or 3 times or whatever. But it has to be something.
Yeah.
Because you have to stop that conversation in its tracks.
Yes. And then do you have your clients replace it with something different?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yes.
And then creating a new way of thinking about that particular topic that is negative, pulling you back, and recreating that future self with words that will replace.
Yes.
It might just be 5 words, like you'll never make it to that level of income or whatever. Make it about the same length and words, reversing it and really getting a visual, what that looks like, because we all paint stories in our brain, in our head. That's how we learn a lot of times, is creating it up here.
Yes.
Mind movies. So creating mind movies with the patterns.
Yeah, that's great.
Writing them down, saying them, rehearsing them constantly, the interrupt. And then, everybody needs to be keeping a journal through my training with them, so that they can see the evolution, where they've been hung up, where they've made changes, and who they have become after, 4 months, 6 months, 8 months, whatever it is. So
that's so good, because we often forget about really what we have accomplished, don't we?
yes. Oh, we do, Kat. Especially women. Women wear 85 hats in a day, especially if you're a mama. Even with adult kids, they bring their own set of issues with growing up, right? And aging parents. I mean, that's a new set of concerns for adult children, because the living longer thing is happening, and a lot of them don't have that healthcare insurance.
Another reason why it's really important to try and get as strong financially as you can, isn't it?
Absolutely. And when you look at what is happening in the world today, as far as the stock market and all the different income ways of making money, there's so much out there, the whole bit. You just go, I think I just want to hide it under my mattress and hope that $1 is still $1 in 10 years. So instead of sitting in that panic, it's time to move forward, because honestly, when we have a suppressed economy, it is the best time for entrepreneurs to start popping their heads up. The best time, as we saw with COVID.
Yep. COVID saw a lot of entrepreneurs born in that time, didn't it?
And 49 million Americans left the workforce at that time.
Yeah.
They just said, I'm sick and tired of not having that home life business quality, and they took on to entrepreneurship.
Oh, that's great. Yep. So you got your woman who knows it's a possibility. She's realizing that she's got all these external pressures, the economy, like you said, healthcare, all of these type of things that are all so valid. I mean, just the cost of vegetables is valid at the moment.
Yeah, growing our own farms is the only way to eat clean these days too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a whole other
thing
area.
in itself. And so how do you help these women though get confident enough? Because it's one thing to go, okay, I see the need, know I want to do this, but who the heck am I? Haven't I missed it? I'm not a 20-year-old who is tech savvy, and
nor am I.
Ladies from breaking through that lack of confidence that comes with looking at the younger generation who look like they've got it together. We know they haven't, but they look like they have when it comes to everything.
Yeah. Social media, it's a pro and a con. We know the cons of it. It's totally brainwashed our children's heads from the
Yeah.
standpoint of they don't go outside anymore. They don't play in communities anymore. And it's one of those things where if you're not a parent that is around and able to intercept some of that stuff, oh my gosh, you know, COVID, when I saw neighbor friends of mine who have younger kids sit in the living room watching their kid on Zoom and the schooling that they were being taught in these classrooms, horrified many of them.
Wow.
And it brought me to tears.
Wow.
It
That's
just,
interesting.
it angered me.
Yeah.
And I had known what's been going on with the curriculum for years, but what power do I have to make those changes? Thank God my kids were out of school and they were in private school up until high school. And that's just the way I chose to do it.
Yeah.
But not everybody has that choice. And so it's just really, I have such a passion for having one parent home. Hopefully it's the mom, because our kids need us.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. Our kids are crying out for us to be there. And we've unfortunately built our lifestyles up with dual income household.
And unfortunately, that's not even a choice really anymore, is it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then latchkey kids, here we go again. I was a latchkey kid when we were growing up, but I thank God had gymnastics as my outlet. And that kept me out of trouble. It kept me in the gym. It kept me learning new things about health and wellness. So I just love to impart my wisdom on women. One of the things that really I find in mid-age women, especially 40 to 60, they are all so stressed. The stress level, the cortisol level is so elevated that they couldn't lose weight if they tried.
Yeah.
And most have, 10 pounds added every year, usually around the midriff, the gut area. And there's simple ways to solve these problems without dieting, but you really have to understand a little bit how the body works. And so I go into that with intermittent fasting and holistic cleansing and things like that.
So you incorporating health and well-being as part of your business training.
Definitely. If they don't have that confidence in their body, in the way they feel when they wake up in the morning, the way they look in the mirror, that's half their confidence gone already.
Right.
So yeah, both of those, mind and body. See the pink part of that pivot chart, that's all health related. Mind, body, spirit. Yes. And then the blue is the business aspect, social media and all that jazz. And then the green is wealth generation. So
look at that. And the wealth generation part's only that much of that massive pie that you've got there. I really, really think that's fantastic. So it's a much more holistic approach, isn't it? Rather than segmenting our lives even more by, well, I've got to somehow rather now find the time and the energy and everything to fit in this side hustle over here, rather than seeing that all of it's integrated.
Absolutely. You can actually start a side hustle without having it be a segmented part of your life, because this will just actually, oh my gosh, it rolls into when you go to the grocery store and buy food for the family. You're knowing what to shop for and how you can replace some of that expense buying clean food that you get paid for using. So, it's a win-win.
That's really cool. So how do women sort of come to you? Do they find you, or do you speak and teach this out and about?
So I do lives, I do master classes, I do podcasts. I'm on social media. Although, you know what happened, Kat? About 4.5 weeks ago, my Facebook page was removed.
Oh.
It was hijacked by somebody in Vietnam.
Oh, then that's happened to a few friends now.
So it's really important, as I teach when I work with women, the email list is really important asset that we have, because you don't know when social media is going to close down or when you're going to be kicked off the platform or whatever. So yes, but podcasts and things, those will live in infamy for, ever, which is great.
And I believe that you have a free gift as well that people can
do
access. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I have two. One is check the pantry, and the other is for mindset.
Right.
Girl, quit looking in the rear view mirror. And they're really just workbooks for you to be able to do assignments, basically your to-dos. And then you can see where some challenges show up, etc. And you can convert into some new paradigms. So I've got 2 of them. If you want me to send both, I can send both.
Oh, yes. Yes, we'll definitely have your website links and everything. This, and I think it's fabulous because people can then do something to deal with the physical body and also sort out the head.
Exactly.
So someone who's listening in, who's kind of interested and thinking maybe this is for me, what would be your probably 1 or 2 biggest pieces of advice for that person who's not sure but they're kind of interested?
Well, let's go back to we don't know what we don't know. So how about jumping on a call? And then I do like a gap analysis just with questions and answers, very casual. There's no hard selling, but very casually going through some of the platforms that I teach from to see where you're at and if it's of interest to you to elevate those areas of your life. So one is jumping on a Zoom. That's an easy one. But the other one, really, I tell women to do, tell your spouse, tell your family that you need a 1 or 2 day timeout.
Yeah.
And make plans to go somewhere that I say is my happy place, which is anywhere by water, the ocean, the river, whatever. And just bring a notebook and pen, no TV, no music, and just start dropping nuggets. Just start writing.
Beautiful.
Dreams, things that you wish you would have done that you haven't done yet. Think big. Don't be small, and just brain dump onto the journal. And you will be amazed at some of the nuggets that will show up that you might have been suppressing for many years. And that might just give you that tiptoe into starting a business. This business of mine, the thing that it allows me is time freedom. The money doesn't stop because I stopped working. And I think so many people, if they could taste recurring income, they would never go without it.
That's powerful.
So
yeah, I like that. And that time to actually hear your own voice. We just don't do that, do we?
Just quiet, listen to the river, listen to the nature, birds, whatever, and just brain dump. You'll be amazed at what comes out on the journal.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you can start taking the ones that really stand out and thinking, letting them develop.
Because you'll know if it goes from the head to the heart.
Yeah.
If it's, if it resonates, it's gonna jump out of that heart place that maybe it's been suffocated for too long.
Yeah. For that as a starting point. And then, like you said, the fear then of, but I don't know how to make that into something, but you're not expected to know it all at the beginning, are you?
Well, I call this a business in a box. That's what this template is.
Right.
It's already done for you. It's just a matter of you stepping into this box and, being the Pied Piper, doing the do.
And bring it to life.
And building and growing.
I just love your heart and energy, like 64 years and rocking it, girl. I love the fact that you have your health and fitness that you learned as a child, that discipline stayed with you. And that's encouraging for me because I wasn't a gymnast. I was actually a musician. But my daughter was an aerobic gymnast and represented the country. And was the national coach for quite a number of tours. She's now a stunt woman in LA. But that came from being a kid at those gym lessons every week. Yeah, exactly what you did.
Having a dream.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome.
It's amazing that if you can take that discipline and it just apply it to other areas in your life, it's incredible. And the fact that you can teach other women to do likewise is so powerful. And it must be fulfilling.
It's fulfilling. Yeah, it's so fulfilling. I mean, that's how I sleep good at night. It's like knowing that my little ripple in this world, this little ripple spans out to generations in families.
I think that's beautiful. If you can find the thing that lights you up, bring it to the world, and that's your little ripple that makes a difference. So, lovely. Thank you so much, Jeanette.
We're going to be on the phone together. I can tell. We're going to be doing Zooms, just chatting.
Absolutely. Sign me up. Sign me up. That sounds fantastic.
For sure.
Good. Well, thank you again. And for everybody listening in, make sure that you check out the show notes or the YouTube channel, wherever you're listening or watching this, because we will have all of Jeanette's links there. So you can go away and you can grab those freebies that she has, or maybe jump on a Zoom call with her and find out about what you possibly could do to bring to life your purposeful and profitable business that makes a difference for you going forward. And thank you again for being with us. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share. And I'll see you on the next episode of the Rocking Midlife podcast. Being a kid at those gym lessons every week, exactly what you do.
Having a dream.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome.
So
I
from
love
a mum to a gymnast over there, I can see it's amazing that if you can take that discipline and it just apply it to other areas in your life, it's incredible. And the fact that you can teach other women to do likewise is so powerful. And it must be fulfilling.
It's fulfilling. Yeah, it's so fulfilling. I mean, that's how I sleep good at night. It's like knowing that my little ripple in this world, this little ripple spans out to generations in families. It's
beautiful.
It's exciting.
Beautiful. I think, we've just got our key quote right there for this. I think that's beautiful. If you can find the thing that lights you up, bring it to the world, and that's your little ripple that makes a difference. So, lovely. Thank you so much, Jeanette.
It's so welcome.
So lovely to meet you.
We're going to be on the phone together. I can tell. We're going to be doing Zooms, just chatting.
Absolutely. Oh, sign me up. Sign me up. That sounds fantastic.
For sure.
Good. Well, thank you again. And for everybody listening in, make sure that you check out the show notes or the YouTube channel, wherever you're listening or watching this, because we will have all of Jeanette's links there. So you can go away and you can grab those freebies that she has, or maybe jump on a Zoom call with her and find out about what you possibly could do to bring to life your purposeful and profitable business that makes a difference for you going forward. And thank you again for being with us. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share. And I'll see you on the next episode of the Rocking Midlife podcast.